Hi everyone, my name is Esther MacDonald, and this is my presentation on Washington State Community College. Specifically, I had the opportunity to interview David Herman, and so I would be discussing that interview. This is the agenda that we're going to be discussing. I am going to be going through and discussing the questions as they align with the five different leadership practices that we've discussed in the course, and discuss how that then relates to those and how Dave's responses were according to those. So to start, what is Washington State Community College? So this is a small open enrollment institution located in Marietta, Ohio. This institution mostly awards associate's degrees, but recently gained approval to award bachelor's degrees. The institution also has a mission statement that the college responds to the education and workforce needs of their community by providing dynamic and affordable degree and certificate programs and an atmosphere that promotes student success. Additionally, the college's vision is to inspire individual excellence and success. The college also values a number of things that as we kind of go forth in discussing, you'll notice that a lot of these values align with what David Herman shared as his values. Those values that the college communicated that they have and they practice each day in each encounter is respect, ethics, inspiration, inclusion, success, excellence, teamwork, and stewardship. And so I had the opportunity to meet with David Herman, who is the VP of Student Affairs. How the structure of the college works is there is a president. Under the president, there are three VPs and one chief financial officer. David Herman is one of the VPs. And I chose to specifically interview him because I had worked with him previously at a different institution where I know he had a not so positive leadership experience with those above him. And so I was really intrigued to see how that may have changed and how that has impacted his leadership style now. And so this was a really great opportunity to dive deeper into that. So under his student affairs department. He has four direct reports, so these are directors. His position specifically, he oversees marketing, recruitment, admissions, enrollment, financial services, advising, retention, student success, TRIO grants, and financial aid. And so his specific direct reports fall under those umbrellas. And then under all of his direct reports, he has 35 to 40 additional staff members that he completely oversees altogether. To get started, one of the first questions that I asked him directly related to his model the way as related to our text that we were utilizing with the five leadership practices. And so as our text kind of defined, modeled the ways defined as defining and affirming shared values and aligning those actions to shared values. And so these specific questions is what I asked Dave as it relates to the model the way leadership practice. And so I asked him what his 3 to 5 personal values that are important to him. He listed respect, integrity, empathy, honesty, and humility. And then going in deeper, how do these values directly translate to his leadership practice? We were able to discuss them specifically. So respect for him means respecting himself and everyone as individuals, even especially their differences, learning from one another to help him grow as a leader. Integrity, he wants to rely on his strong moral and ethical principles and he strives to live on those principles daily. So literally always doing what's right even when no one is watching. Empathy, he defines as attempting to put himself in other people's shoes and helping him have a better understanding and relate to them in different situations. Honesty, being true to oneself and others by not lying, cheating, and then it helps him build trust among his team and organization. Humility, he does his best to give credit to others rather than trying to spotlight on himself. This helps his team build confidence and it demonstrates that he believes on what's best in order to best support his staff. And so, like he says, he practices what he preaches. He wants to be consistent, and he deeply cares about his team's success. Some examples of that is, again, practicing what he preaches. This is how he aligns all of his values to his actions. And also, and just as this relates to student development, in formulating a team that is united under a shared vision, they can better serve students and work together to formulate policies and procedures that have a positive impact on student development. And so he wants to form a team that is united, and through the values that he shared, respect, integrity, empathy, honesty, and humility, he's able to provide a team that all believes in those shared values that he has, and also in that they know exactly what to expect from him. So as I looked at the department website and documents, many of the goals that we discussed were not directly listed, but the goals all do align with the college overall mission and vision. Some of the goals that Dave shared were implementing new CRM, that they've never had a CRM before. The college is going through a name change and rebranding because of the recent approval for them to award bachelor's degrees. Dave is working on you being able to utilize their space more efficiently, and also enhancing their current processes, which kind of just looks like creating process maps for onboarding, registration, and adult recruitment. Um, some challenges that he's encountered is in investing the group in this shared vision is buy-in regarding the CRM, because they've never utilized it before. He's having some people unsure of whether or not it would be efficient or effective. Another thing is lack of consensus on the new name. People are not sure if they want to switch their college name, and they're not sure how that's going to impact students. Additionally, with creating process maps, he's just, a lot of people have never done it before the way that he's wanting to do it, and so just having to get people on board has been a challenge for him. How he's navigated, he said the big thing is getting to share the why and how it impacts the shared vision that they all have. They all want to see students succeed. They all want to create efficient processes for students, and they want to make sure students get through the college to completion as quickly as possible. And so all of these different things do exactly that. They allow students easier access into programs, and they allow students to get through quicker. And so he wants to get buy-in by including others in the process and helping them feel known and seen as and heard as they're going through it. He also thinks it's very important to utilize data and information and share that with others to help them understand the why behind why decisions are made. He also takes the time to have one-on-one discussions with all of his team members to actually hear them out and make them feel like they have ownership in the decisions that are being made. The text defines challenging the process as seeking innovative ways to improve, experimenting and taking risk, and generating small wins and learning from experiences. So, as this relates to my conversations with Dave, I asked him how has his group approached a new task in situations a new way, what led to this new approach, and how did the group respond to new method. He kind of mentioned that the majority of the people never participated in process mapping of flowchart ever before, and so needing to help them learn how to do that, to help evaluate their current processes and find and address gaps. At first, they were very unsure, but then after they did it a couple of times, they grew to enjoy it and have fun and appreciate the time and effort it takes to carry it out. And also through this process, he's provided them autonomy to figure out how to best implement it through their specific departments. And so this is working directly with his direct reports, which are the directors, figuring out, okay, this is how typically it works. How do you want to implement it within admissions, and giving them the autonomy to do so. So I asked him what role did he play in this process. He said he was the leader. However, he tried his best to participate, to be a leader that gives them as much autonomy as possible. So he facilitated the conversation. He celebrated the small wins with them, and then challenged their ideas when necessary, but then allowed them ultimately to make the final decision on how they were going to implement it. So he just helped generate ideas and help them figure out how to generate ideas, but he ultimately did not hold their hands through. He just was there as available to support them. And then we talked about how is decision making happening within the group. Each person is encouraged to share their insight, ideas, and experience and thoughts. He encourages collaboration, and then inform decision making through collaboration. And so each person gets to provide feedback, and then that feedback is utilized to make decisions. It's not just decisions based on one person's idea or Dave's own ideas. defines enabling others to act as fostering collaboration through trust and facilitating relationships, and then increase self-determination to develop competence. And so with Dave's responses, I asked him how does he facilitate positive relationships. He facilitates it by helping his team members feel like their feedback is very valuable. Even if their ideas were not pursued, he at least tries to bring them to consensus by taking in everyone's ideas and encouraging them to unite under that common idea and common goal. And so he's big on providing feedback and allow them to provide feedback and allowing those feedback to bring everyone to a common goal. Additionally, the team is made up of pretty positive people, and so he finds it pretty easy for them to have positive relationships. And he takes initiative in celebrating small wins and early on in conversations. So he addresses negative situations one-on-one, but then positive situations if the person prefers our awards or outward rewards, and he does that in public. Is there a spirit of collaboration or competitiveness within his team? He thinks there's healthy competition to challenge one another. The team works together to meet common goals. And so, like, he gave an example with the admissions staff members. They are competing in the sense of, okay, I want to get more kids enrolled. You want to get more kids enrolled. They're just using that to challenge one another. So it's healthy competition. But ultimately, they come up with a plan together on how they're going to do that. And they utilize the team's plan to be able to push their individual goals forward. Um, and so, with encouraging leadership, he also encourages everyone to be a leader. He gives everyone autonomy to decide how they want to lead. He is available to his direct report to provide leadership training. And so, he found that one of his people had not had a lot of experience on how to lead. And so, he was able to sit one on one with them, give them some experiences from his background, and allow them to have conversations with them to help them grow and continue training them. He also allows them to take lead on projects, lead initiatives, and in conversations, and gives them opportunity to carry out this role, and then he encourages them and celebrates all of their big wins, big and small wins. He had an example of a marketing guy that he had to coach on how to help a direct report with more training. So one of the marketing guys had hired a new guy who didn't know where to find more training, and so he shared with the director how to help the person, but then allowed the director to take full credit on leading his team, even though he was helping lead the director. And also, one of the admissions advisors was not engaging, and so he goes to the director and gave him information on, hey, how can you help this team member lead better? Here are some ideas, and then you can have that conversation. So he's always available to collaborate with direct reports to encourage leadership, and he helps them understand like some different situations, and then allows them to take all of that information into account and figure out what their best way of leading looks like. Encouraging the heart is defined as showing appreciation for individual excellence, celebrating values and victories by creating spirit of community. And so he mentioned this earlier again, like he already takes the opportunity to celebrate everyone as soon as things happen, immediately, not waiting till the big things happen, but celebrating small wins. And so that's a big way of which he encourages his team to do their best. So he makes the work environment super fun for them. He supports them as much as possible. So he thinks if they're enjoying their day, then it helps them be encouraged to continue showing up to work every day. And he continues to support them by praising them in the way that they want to be praised, so publicly versus privately. And then he provides constructive feedback privately. And then he tries to respect their team. He tries to respect his team. And so making sure to get to know them well enough so that he knows exactly what their needs are. And then utilizing that knowledge, he would encourage them in a way that feels most genuine. And then what kind of recognition and feedback does the members of the group receive? He has one-on-one conversations weekly with his direct reports to talk about the positives and the negatives. And then he does walkthroughs with everyone else that he oversees weekly to just see what's going on, to have casual conversations with them. And then in those casual conversations, he always makes sure that he has some positive things to say back to them, and not just general positive things of like, you're doing great, or hey, you did this one assignment that was really awesome. You submitted this specific thing that I really liked how it looked, or you were able to get 20 students in this week. That's awesome. Congratulations. And so he tries to be very specific in their feedback. he hasn't really faced a lot of direct conflict yet since he's been in his position. He's had one situation where someone was not very ambitious, and so he's just helped them understand their ability and helping them gain more training to be able to be more confident in their job. But that's about it. He hasn't had much conflict with his direct reports, and he thinks that's just because they all feel super comfortable to provide him with feedback because he's created that kind of environment for them. So, part of my closing thoughts, I asked him what his most important leadership advice would be. And he said to take the time to better your emotional intelligence. This will allow you to be the best version of yourself for those you lead and the students you serve. He kind of elaborated on this as taking the time to know yourself, taking the time to understand your tics and what gets you upset, taking the time to really know what your values and beliefs are so you know who you are and you're confident in who you are. And as a result, you can then be able to confidently speak about things and confidently lead others. He kind of like continued to elaborate through our conversation. His goal is to not create more followers. His goal is to support his team and allow them the ability to cultivate their leadership skills so they don't have to completely be reliant on him and him alone. Which I really appreciated because having a team that is strong and firm in their beliefs, a team that values student success and student development, that team is a team that's going to positively impact students. That team is going to be a team that creates policies that are positively impacting student development. And so I think that's the reason why I would want to be a part of his team. Again, I was a part of his team in a different organization, and it looks different for him now because he has different leadership structure and different team structure, but it still looks like he does a good job of balancing autonomy and support. He communicates well with his team. He allows his team to take on leadership roles and projects while also being available for coaching and guidance. And he genuinely demonstrates a desire to cultivate more leaders rather than followers. And I think that's very important into leadership because that's what creates an environment where people are able to formulate ideas that positively impact students. Here are my references. Please let me know if you have any questions. I had a really great time being in this class with you all.